here we've got these numbers, and the first thing we want to do is we want to convert them all to decimals. Well, 3/25 is a little bit difficult, but if you take your calculator and you do 3 divided by 25, what do you get? 3 divided by 25, what do we get? Read? 0.12. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to literally write underneath this 0.12. Questions on that? Now, next, we're going to have the square root of 3 divided by 11. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to go on the left side, and we're going to hit that blue second button. Do you guys remember talking about that last week? And then you go down to x squared where you have the square root symbol. And you should now have a square root on your calculator. What are you going to put inside of that square root? Number 3, right? And then, before you do anything else, the right arrow on your calculator, you're going to hit it to the right, and notice that it's now going to move you outside of the square root symbol. Does everybody understand what I mean by that? If you keep typing, it's going to keep everything inside the square root symbol. We don't want that. We want to move outside of the square root symbol. So once you typed in square root of 3, then you're going to hit to the right and clear out of the square root box. Are we okay with that? Then, yes ma'am. And then what you're going to do is you're going to hit divided by what?
11.
By 11, good. And when you do that, you should end up with 0.157. But remember, in the instructions it said to make them all have the same number. So, since that has 0.157, can I round up to make this 0.15, or should I be 0.16? Or we can even leave it there. It makes no difference. Let's leave it at 0.157 right now. I like the thousands place. How do I convert 9 over 100 into a decimal? How do I convert 9 over 100 into a decimal? Hey, come on now. I need participation. I need participation. How do I convert 9 over 100 into a decimal? Kendall.
9/100.
Yeah, 9 100ths, or if you didn't know that, you could do 9 divided by 100, which is going to give you 0.09. Isaac, what does this represent right here? This symbol on top of the 24?
Pi.
It's pi. So if you guys look at your calculator, find the button where it says clear. Right beneath that, you should see a little like carrot top, or like it looks like a roof of a house. Do you see that? What's the little blue button above that?
Pi.
So if you hit second in that little carrot top, what's it going to make on your calculator?
Pi.
It's going to do pi. So go ahead and get pi on there. And then what are you going to divide pi by?
24.
24. Pi divided by 24 is going to give me 0.130. Are we okay with that? Okay, Ruger, what is this next number right here? What like not the decimal, what is that number though?
8 squared.
Square root of 8. Do we know how to find a square root symbol on our calculator? Okay, so we're going to do second, x squared, type in the 8. I got 2.828. Do we agree? All right, then finally, do I need to do anything with this last number? Why not?
Because it's already in decimal.
It's already in decimal form. Good. Okay, now, here's the part that's going to mess most of us up. Right here it says list the numbers in order from greatest to least. So I now need to put these numbers in order from greatest to least. Okay, let me ask you this. What's the biggest number out of the ones that I listed up here that you see? What is the largest number that you see? Nathan?
2.828.
So instead of writing 2.828 though, I'm going to write the square root of 8 because that's the original number that it gave me. Are we okay with that? Now these two numbers are done. What's the second biggest number that you see on here? What's the second biggest that you see? Read. 0.157. I agree, which is the square root of 3 divided by 11. Is everybody okay with that step? All right, what's the next biggest number you see? Mariah, what's the next biggest one that you see?
0.12 or 3 divided by
So I've got a .12 here, but I've got a .13 over here. We just missed it, right? It's okay. It's all right. I know you understand the difference. Okay. Read, what's next? 3 over 25. Ruger, what's next? 0.09. We're going to write it as 9 over 100 since that's the number that it left me with. And then finally, the last one, because it's negative, always goes at the end. That would be your answer. Having this calculator makes it pretty simple, doesn't it? Okay, any questions on that? All right, you guys ready to move on to the second one? Okay. All right, let me erase that. Hey, Rosie, can you see the problem underneath the glare? Is it okay right there?
Yeah.
Or how about,
I can see it on the board.
okay, what about for the iPad for the recording? So I'm looking at example 2 right here. Where my mouse is. Can you see the whole question? Okay, cool. All right, so let me erase this real quick. All right, so this time it says, order the group of numbers in ascending order. What does ascending mean? I know you guys talk about that in 6th grade. What does the word ascending mean? Read. Least to greatest, right? We're getting bigger as we go on. So ascending is going to mean least to greatest. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, it's the exact same thing. First thing we're going to do is we're going to find the square root of 3. Can anybody tell me what the square root of 3 is? I want 3 digits past the decimal. Down. 1.732. Are we all okay with that? Okay, the next one's 1.7. Do I need to do anything to that? Okay, I do want to have your attention on this one, though. How many decimal spots did I go past on this number? So I want to do the same thing over here. So what can I do to fill in my decimal spots on that number? Ziana? Add 2 zeros. Are we okay with that? Okay, next. The square root of 7, so we're going to hit second, x squared 7. Now remember though, you want to hit to the right to make sure that you're not underneath the square root symbol still. And then we're going to divide that by what? 2. Okay, can anybody tell me what you got on that one? Read what you get. 1.322. Okay, do we have the same number of decimal spots there? So are we good? Okay, now for this last one, when we're dealing with mixed numbers like this, we have 1 and 3/8. Well, we already know the 1's going to be the whole number. So can't I just do 3 divided by 8 and then add the 1 to it? Yeah, so if you do 3 divided by 8, what do you get, Anthony?
You get 0.375.
Yeah, good. So if we add that 1 in, now it's going to be 1.375. Okay, and again, you look, guys, we're going from least to greatest. So what's the smallest number out of these 4? What is the smallest number out of these 4? Anthony? 1.332, or the square root of 7 divided by 2. Are we okay with that? All right, Kaden, can you tell me what the next smallest number is? 1 and 3/8. And then after that, what comes next, Ruger? 1.7. And then last but not least, we have the square root of 3. Easy enough? All right, awesome. Let's talk about this next one, number 3. Number 3 is a little bit different. Not much different. But instead of listing numbers now, what it's asking us to do is compare these numbers using inequalities or equal symbols. So just to recap, this is the greater than symbol, this is the less than symbol, and this is the equal to symbol. Remember the alligator mouth always eats the bigger number? So whichever side is bigger, we want the open mouth facing that one. Does that make sense? If they equal each other, then we go from there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a calculator. Doesn't that make this so much easier? here's what I want you to do. I want you to do second x squared 7 plus 4. What do you get? Make sure you don't have that 4 underneath the square root though. Notice that it's not under the square root here. So you got to hit the right to clear out from the square root. Caden, what'd you get? 6.645. Do we agree?
Yes.
Let's do the next one now. 5 plus second square root 6. Ziana, what'd you get?
7.449.
7.449. So which side should the alligator mouth with the inequality go after? Read.
Oh, right side.
Are we all okay with that? Hey, here's what I want you to do. I want you to try the next two real quick. I want you to try the next two on your own. Ryan, the office is requesting you. Not sure what's going on, but they just want you real quick. Do we have an answer for this one yet?
I have an answer for the bottom one.
Okay,
Oh,
Ruger,
the bottom one.
which one's bigger?
The left one?
Do we agree? What about that last one? Anybody got it done yet? It's okay if not. You're fine. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Reed, what'd you get?
The right side.
Do we agree? No?
How did you get it put a negative on the?
Oh, great question. Next to the decimal at the very bottom, Ruger, is the negative sign.
Is it the and sign? The right beside the and.
So do you see where the zero's at, Ruger? Then there's a decimal, and then to the right of the decimal is the negative sign. All right, and the last thing before we end the notes, I just want you to understand something. When we're talking about speed, the lower time is the fastest time. Does that make sense? If me and Ziana are racing and she's kicking my tail, she's going to finish that race quicker than I am, which means that her time is going to be less, but that's really the fastest time. You guys understand that? Okay.